A few years ago, when I was in university, a friend of mine asked if I'd be interested in joining his new Dark Fantasy D&D game. My only previous experience with D&D was a few sessions of heavily homebrewed 4th edition back in high school, so I was keen to give 5th edition a go and play in a long-running campaign. This was my first time playing 5th edition, and the setting was Dark Fantasy, with certain homebrew rules to make the game more punishing. I made a barbarian called Jorg Bjornsson, cursed heir to the Isle of Studholm. He had 14 strength, 14 constitution, and 7 intelligence. He was a blacksmith working in a small village, and as such had his very own crude greatsword, which had a -2 to hit and a -1 to damage. The first session began with an introduction to all our characters, who happened to be in the same village for one reason or another. There was Jorg the blacksmith, Bartholomew the ranger's apprentice, who we kindly nicknamed Master Bait, Jacob the withered sorcerer, and Johann the fighter. Immediately following our introductions, a war party of orcs raided the village, and as we were technically level 0 characters at the time, we all opted to flee. We managed to best a singular orc who had followed our trail out into the woods, and returned to the burning village after the rest of the war party had moved on. We were searching around when a group of bandits entered the village and chased us into the local church. There we made our stand against the bandits. Jorg went on a rampage, killing bandit after bandit, uppercutting a man in half with his greatsword. I was rolling hot. Then all of a sudden, Johann was grappled and a knife was held to his throat. The cowardly bandit standing behind him ordered us to stand down. Jorg, being a 7-int barbarian who was currently on a murder streak, picked up the nearest javelin and hurled it at the bandit. Unfortunately, I rolled a natural 1, a critical failure. Now normally in D&D, this would probably be no big deal. The javelin would miss widely and shatter on the wall behind them, but this was Dark Fantasy, and a critical failure was going to be a critical failure. The javelin impaled Johann straight through the chest, and he was dead on impact. I had accidentally killed a fellow player character in my first ever session of 5th edition D&D. We cleaned up the rest of the bandits, looted Johann's corpse, and that was the end of the session. In fairness, the player wasn't too mad at me, and we all found humour in the situation. His next character, Anna, whose real name was Elsa, managed to become the second longest surviving player character in the campaign, after Jorg, of course, who eventually became a Lich King. But that's a story for another time.